It has become a political gymnastics that when you are in opposition, the only way you can win the heart of the people is to throw debt at the government. And one of the things is shouting corruption, corruption, corruption. But when you get power, you come to power, prosecution becomes a challenge. What happens to Ora, Mawuena? And NDC must be minded and guided. If they fail in Ora, Ghanaians are not going to forgive them. And given the events that are unfolding after the ruling of this High Court case, it means that this government will not be able to prosecute anybody in the next 1 or 2 years. And by then, elections are near. So to me, I can safely say that any expectation on Ora is muted.
No, but they said that Attorney General should take over the various cases the OSP has started.
So let me also come to the Attorney General. In the past, how many years? How many cases has the Attorney General, given the resources we give to that department, have been able to prosecute? You remember last week, I nearly ran into trouble when I was trying to draw some inference and I was misrepresented in a way. You see, the government is coming out with a policy that they want to look at outside the Attorney General's department to get lawyers that can handle.
It will be a problem.
That will be a problem. So it means that we need to resource the Attorney General's department humanly, not, because it means that certain people are there and they are not fit for purpose. Otherwise, government will not be trying to looking outside to recruiting. So any prosecutorial body will attract the best minds, because the kind of things they are prosecuting are serious crimes. And even the ORA, the cases that have been mentioned, they are very serious cases.
Yeah.
And if we are able to even recover half of that, we can use that to build and finish all the Agenda 11 hospitals across the country. How much money do they need? I learned about 20 billion Ghana cedis. Look at the cases and the reference. It's no more than 20 billion. And these monies are sitting in individual pockets. Some have even built bunkers in their home, I'm told. And you see, there are a whole lot of things we have to look at. And my humble plea, Mawuena, is that we shouldn't lose faith in our agenda in fighting corruption.
Right.
Otherwise, our democracy will be dead on arrival. Because when citizens begin to lose faith in the very institutions that are protecting their very existence, then there's no democracy.
Right. You're still live here on the 3FM Sunrise. War some 17 minutes past 9. I'll return to the rest of the panel on what this means for the fight against corruption, because the High Court in their ruling said the cases should be transferred
To the
pending authorization. Now, we've seen the Attorney General move and make mention of the fact that they are taking over the cases. But on the subject of authorization, there's a bit of a quiet on there. I'll come back to all of us on this, but let me just talk to you about Electroland Ghana Limited, because they are doing a big one called Achede Kesie, customer loyalty rewards, and they're giving you weekly and monthly big rewards when you buy Samsung, TCL, Media, and Nasco electronics anywhere in Ghana and from authorized dealer or reseller. Just buy your LED smart TV, split AC, double door, fridges, auto grill, gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwaves, blenders, mobile phones, and more from Samsung to TLC, Media, and Nasco, and dial star 928 star 888 hash or go to register.electrolandraffles.com to enter our weekly and monthly draws approved by NLA Caritas platform, Electroland Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way. Also, the Business and Financial Times, they are putting together the 3rd edition of the Women in Business Dialogue Series under the theme From Market to Market Leader, Empowering Women, SMEs, and young women in agribusiness for sustainable growth, on Tuesday. It's coming off on the Tuesday, the 28th of April 2026 at the Lancaster Hotel in Kumasi from 9 a.m. Driving Women-Led Business Growth in Ghana. The Women in Business Dialogue Series is an initiative aimed at promoting entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, and sustainable growth among women-led businesses in Ghana and beyond. This year's edition will convene women entrepreneurs, market leaders, policymakers, financial institutions, and development partners to deliver high-level plenary discussions, practical masterclass sessions, opportunities to connect, network, and learn from top business leaders, practical insight and strategies to grow and scale businesses, exposure to financing, markets, and institutional support systems, guidance on overcoming barriers in the business ecosystem, access to skills development, and mentorship opportunities. Lead sponsors for this program, EcoBank Ghana. Supporting sponsors, Gino, Unilever Ghana, the Bank Hospital. For media sponsorships and contact, 0209 457 427 or 0244 725 688. Media partners include TV3, Onia TV, 3FM, Asasi Radio, City FM, Hello FM, Caspen FM, and TV, as well as Lawson Radio and TV. But back in the studio, I want to go to Isha.
I forgot to mention one thing.
Right.
In relation to what we even discussed. Lawyer, so this shouldn't even be an issue. They say get authorization from the Attorney General's department before you can prosecute. Yeah. It's just a matter of Kisi Ajabi.
Ego issue.
Obliging. This is not a matter that should drag the country backwards in our fight against.
You can automatically grant them. Why can't the Attorney General automatically grant them?
Which is the point.
You cannot be bigger than the Attorney General. It's ego.
So I was coming to that part as to why are we not seeing the Attorney General automatically granting this authorization, but they have gone ahead to say that, we are going to take over the cases.
Yeah.
Where lies that disconnect, and why are we not seeing that urgency? Also considering that the president has said he has no problem with the OSP staying and believes that they should be given some time to deliver on their mandate.
Yeah. So
yes.
Okay. Yes. So for me, as I said, even though constitutionally the Attorney General might be the only authority to handle prosecutions in Ghana, if you look elsewhere, there's nothing wrong with donating your power. And you can donate the power in such a way because of the nature of the office. I've likened it to Ken Starr. That's why President Clinton was facing impeachment. But because of that convention, politically it's very damaging thing to do. And I think we should see it in this particular light. The Attorney General can grant them automatically. For me, I believe the power belongs to the Attorney General.
Absolutely.
No doubts about that.
I think around this table,
is very clear about that. Yes. But politically, it's very damaging. Especially if you take that power and you selectively go for some people in a hotel manner and ignore other people, especially if they are members of your party. Because we already know that the NDC have no appetite to fight any corruption. It was just slogan like their so-called 24 hours economy when they were in opposition. They are just slogans. Look, note it down, I'm telling you today, after 4 years is zero. They're going to come out with zero prosecution. They have no appetite to fight any corruption at all. Just like Galam said, 24 hours economy. I call them a group of corn men who said anything to win power. They will say anything to win power. So let's still have confidence in them because he disagreed with the previous administration. I want you to keep campaigning harder for them. At the end of these 4 years, you'll be so disappointed than myself here.
No, I'm campaigning.
I think you still have confidence in them as compared to the previous administration.
You mean I have NDC?
I think sometimes
why would I have confidence in the NDC when I'm a member of the United Party?
No, because they are governing now.
No, for me, don't you have confidence in them? Don't you have confidence in them?
No,
but they are taking your taxes. You must always be sure that they do.
Look, they've taken my taxes. The best I can do in opposition is to talk.
And we are
And they are ignoring my
but
talk.
why your talk is not to
Is
their
it that?
benefit, me, my own, you are attributing
Okay.
it to working for them. This is
No, I didn't say you are working
propagandist-
for them.
You
I
know,
said you have confidence
I
in
have
them.
confidence in my GTP.
Okay. I don't want to buy the
But this is
track of-
propaganda.
No. The point I was making, my point was actually trying to more or less support you a bit, but you don't see that aspect of it. What I'm saying is that you better lose your confidence in these people completely. For me, it's slogan. When you see them talking, it's as if they are so campaigning. And we say the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. Not saying that the pudding is sweet. And so far, even taking over this prosecution, it tells me that perhaps they want to take over so that their own members are not prosecuted when it happens. One can read that to it. So for me, there's nothing wrong with you automatically granting them the power to continue prosecution. And if the personality in the case of Kwasi Agyeman, for me, I don't like his style of investigating. Maybe it's based on where I was trained. I prefer the British system. When it is well cooked and it's about to be served, then you come and say, we'll cook something. But the moment you collect firewood, you come and tell everybody, then commentary. And when it's time to even go to court in the case of Cecilia Japa, you went there late for them to just throw your case away. So for me, yes, the act allowed him to do media briefing. But that personality needs to reduce it. And make sure that your case is really, really strong before you go to court. But you go to court, they throw this away, the public will lose the confidence. So maybe let's change the personality. And after all, the president said that he still favored the office of the OSP. So contrary to what you said, it was meant to prosecute the president. The president doesn't seem to see it because he said he preferred the office to stay instead of us abolishing it. Let's change the personality, granting the power automatically, and let's be hesitant in taking the power away. So for me, I think we should do that.
Right. Let me come to Comrade, because I see you've been writing a lot in terms of responses. But why are we not seeing the AG make that part of the order also important, that they are also taking steps to grant the authorization?
92.7. It is important I put it on record that what my big brother said about the Northeast being sidelined as far as this government is concerned is not the case. Yes, it's not the case. In the sense that, look, despite relatively our small numbers as far as population is concerned, this is what His Excellency President Mahama gave the good people of the Northeast. Tema Oil Refinery, the MD is from Northeast. YA Deputy CEO is from Northeast. STC, Managing Director, Northeast. Hajj Board Chairman from Northeast. Standards Authority, Deputy CEO from Northeast. Free Zones, Deputy CEO from Northeast. Deputy Director or Directors from even National Health Insurance, Northeast. Cyber Security, Deputy CEO, Northeast. Yes. This is what is it? Deputy Ambassador, South Africa, Northeast. The Guinean Ambassador, Northeast. Minister of State in charge of climate and sustainability, Northeast, and many
mention
others.
Their name. You keep saying Northeast.
I can mention all of them.
Mention their names.
For God's sake, I'm the regional communication officer. I know all of them, their names, but it's on record.
But it's always better you mention people's names so that somebody.
Because of time, I would mention the name, but you can check it. You are a media, you can check that. So of course, if someone would say that we are sidelined, it's not absolutely the case. And of course, when we are talking about developmental projects, indeed, the big push project, we are getting it. It is only President Mahama. Why wouldn't we change President Mahama? Choose President Mahama for ahead of Dr. Bama, who is our uncle.
Back to
I'm coming.
We've done 2 minutes already.
Yes.
Out of the 5.
When you check under President Mahama in the past, his past administration, what he was able to complete a full road that connects 2 major districts under Vice President Mahmoud Mawuena and Nana Akufo-Addo. They've not been able to complete a single major road in the whole entire region. Nalirgu, Gambaga, and then Wale Wale. Now, back to the issue. You see, it is like I said earlier, it's not the fact that we don't have the state institutions to mandated to fight corruption. We have it. It's about the will to fight corruption. It's about the will. Even if they go and bring the family member, they had gone to bring the family member of President Akufo-Addo to be in charge of the office of the special prosecutor, and he was having the will, he will become independent and do the work. So it's also just in as much as the office is concerned, the person manning that office is also as important as the office that has been established. So it's to me, I believe it's about the will to fight corruption. Now, others trying to make it like it's a mendacious attempt to scrap the office because we think they are doing something against the MP. No. Trying to find something out of that is like forcing to hew water out of a rock. No, that's not the case. And of course, I'm happy that my big brother also goes with the fact that indeed a statutory body, it cannot override that of a body established by the Constitution. Now, why is oral like my brother mentioned? He said oral will not be able to do anything before we leave power. Yes, because they know that they have packed. That was the reason why President Akufo-Addo was packing the High Court, was packing the, all levels of courts. He was packing them. So because they knew very well that they were losing. They knew very well that they were losing the election, and they will become after.
3FM.
To account for their stewardship. So of course they were doing that to slow processes. So it's a matter of time that we reset the judicial system to make them so independent to be able to do the work. They don't say, look, very soon they will come here and lament and then claim there's a persecution. They are saying that we will not be able to do anything. But wait, and one is prosecuted successfully. That is when they will now come here and be lamenting. It won't keep long. When you the atmosphere as far as processes in our court, it has been slow. There are cases that can run over 8 years, over a decade, over 2 years, over 3 years. So it's a process. And now that we know our system happens that way, they can adjourn a case more than 5 months in court. So it has to take time before the court is set. Now he says that he doesn't have confidence in the Mahama administration. Of course, we don't need such confidence to come from opposition, those who sank us deep into the ditch before they were kicked out with 38.2%. No, we don't need that confidence from them. Look, Mawuena, we need the confidence from the Ghanaian people who gave us that power, right, using their efficacious power to, bring us
you've done 30 more seconds, but that bit about the question as to why the AG is not seeking to give the authorization.
We are dealing with people, those who establish it. We are dealing with people who are virtuoso propagandists. They want to see any loophole to take a swipe on the government. Look, it has to be established that there was a defect in establishing Act 959. If it is established, afterwards, we will give the authorization. Indeed, President Mawuena himself says that, look, he doesn't see the need to scrap it. So it tells you that we have an accommodating president and we have accommodating government and listening government. But it has to be established before. And I'm happy that today, even leading members of their party, including himself, my big brother here, are saying that yes, there's a defect. The attorney office of the special prosecutor doesn't have that prosecutorial authority to prosecute cases on their own. So let us establish that using the law courts. Afterwards, let's wait to see whether the confidence President Mahama is having in that office will give them prosecutorial powers or not. Right. That must be established, and I'm happy that we are on the verge of establishing that.
Yes, so clearly ego and also some political maneuvering. Remember, Kissia Jabe is not as independent as anybody thinks. He aligns to the MPP through and through. And the personalities that we are, I'm telling you.
Is that fair?
Oh no, I mean,
the fact he's done cases and he's worked with them doesn't mean
he aligns with.
It should mean he should have an.
He aligns with the MPP. You see, sometimes if we are talking about competence, fine. If we say he knows his stuff because he was, the first class student in this during his time. No power to do what is right. Why did they have to take the attorney general, deputy or the attorney general himself to request on multiple occasions before the extradition or request the extradition order was sent to the AG's office. Meanwhile, all this while we were being told that Ken Ofori-Atta was being pursued. Well, you know, in this country, Mawuena. But you couldn't bring Ken Ofori-Atta from the US to Ghana unless you had an extradition orders filed. It took multiple times. Then again, he goes to court and go and file about 78 charges. By the time you are done with even 10 charges, 10 years is gone. See, there are several ways of trying to protect the interests of people. I believe that the way and manner we are going, but you see, it's a chicken and egg situation. I like it the way it's going, and it plays to the advantage of the United Party. If the MPP or if this current administration is unable to prosecute the corrupt officials in the SWAL and the MPP and now Kufuor Bawumia's administration, what it means is that they have aided them in looting the country. So the two becomes one. If they are able to, as it were, prosecute all the corruptions that happen in the SWAL administration, then it advantages the NDC and disadvantages the UP. So this one, I don't have much to do. Because anytime they say that the Hughes of justice or the corruption cases are not being prosecuted, it means Ghanaians are aware that we were looted, but deliberately this current administration is refusing to prosecute. That has not whitened or make the SWAL administration clean. What it means is that people are being complicit. Look, the Attorney General, this what do you call it, authorization order, they cannot be given a blanket authorization order that we have given authorization order to cover every case. I'm sure it will be case specific. If the case that you are sending to court is bad, why must they give you the authorization to go ahead? If it is good, they give you. And it calls for working together. You understand? And it is very common anywhere. Remember, I was happy Ishaq was making reference to Ken Starr. But in the same US, Robert Mueller, go and see what Trump has written about Robert Mueller. You know he died recently. You saw it. He even thanked God. He praised God that Ken Mueller.
Yeah, but he's an idiot president.
He's not. I'm a Trumpster. Remember, you are dealing with a Trumpster. You see, people think that Trump is a lunatic. But when he also feels, how can you say that?
He's not a lunatic, he's an idiot.
He's a very good person. He's dealing with the issues in the world.
Yeah, but a good person can be an idiot.
And a good person can also be a correct person. That's your own opinion, but I won't describe it like that. But what I'm saying is that, depending everywhere there is politics. You see, that flimsy excuse that you are going to just investigate somebody because, in your view, Russians intervene in the U.S. elections. If Americans will allow themselves to be intervened by Russia, who cares about it? But everywhere happens. So, I believe that we must go back and amend the constitution. This political party, this government has overwhelming majority in parliament. That is what we must be pushing them to do beyond this court case. That use your numbers in court to amend the constitution if you so wish that we have an independent body. Or better still, strengthen the public prosecution, director of public prosecution office. So that truly he can work. But the make and shape of our Attorney General now, it is not giving that public confidence. Maybe they mean to do what is right, but the public perception goes against them, and that does not allow them to do what is right.
Right.
You see, let me just make a small comment with where my good friend Solo landed, because this is a very important matter. I think if you look at the spirit and letter of the constitutions, there are provisions as to how the Attorney General can donate some of his powers to the special prosecutor. I don't think he has a black and white check to decide what he grants and what he doesn't grant. If that is not there, that is where I will support my good friend with us looking at our constitution again and giving this streamlining some of these things. But let me be clear.
3FM 92.7.
I don't know anywhere in the world where the special prosecutor is independent of the Attorney General. I don't know anywhere in the world, unless if we want to set that. if we, because I hear my good friend
kindly use this. I think that we just developed a small challenge when you were speaking.
Always making reference that he reports directly to Parliament. And I think that is a serious ambiguity. And we cannot have two powerful individuals in our anti-corruption crusade who doesn't see eye to eye. It must be collaborative work, because you are seeking to cure one thing, craft, is that not? Corruption. So why should that be a show of power between these two institutions? So Parliament must be also do some
from the Constitution.
Yes.
And what does the Constitution say about the Attorney General?
Exactly.
So what he's saying does not even hold water anywhere.
At all. So Parliament must do some kind of retrospection moving forward, especially the Constitutional Committee of Parliament, so that when they are propagating laws, they don't look at the circumstances of the time. They should look at the length of time and how such a law can stand. Because more often than not, we go back to Parliament and repeal so many laws that were propagated even no less than 5 years. And look at the amount of resources one needs to go through whatever to propagate the law. That by itself is a drain on our national coffers.
Financial loss to the state.
To the state. And we must begin to do things right. I don't think this is about politics at all, because government, like I mentioned, didn't go to court to seek this
3FM 92.7
clarification. It came in the midst of another unrelated matters all together. And I think we should even be grateful that these lawyers has brought this thing up. Otherwise, somebody would have gone through a 5 years prosecutorial stand with the special prosecutor in court, and at the last minute you pull these strings and you see that all the work that has been done is thrown into the gutter and we have to begin again. So this is a wake-up call.
But just a small one. What baffles me is that if you interview about 100 lawyers, almost all of them on this occasion agree that the power is with Attorney General. So why did we sit down to date?
Since 2008.
It's a huge question.
And the president was a lawyer. Nana Akufo-Addo, the constitutional lawyer.
Oh, I beg you.
What is the begging here? It's Nana Akufo-Addo that introduced it. A constitutional lawyer.
Let me tell you, it's
Nana
Parliament.
No.
Parliament is solely responsible for propagating law.
But emanated from cabinet.
So if Parliament okays it, he has to give the executive authorization for it.
No,
he believes in Parliament under the separation of powers that they've done the right job. That's why I mentioned that Parliament
convention, the Attorney General will not interfere.
Yes.
No, but you can't do that.
Damaging.
But Isaac,
So
you can't
that
do that
is why
without
I'm
amending
saying
the
that
Constitution.
Then that's a problem with the black man. Elsewhere it works.
Yes. So that's.
I told you, look at this good convention I kept mentioning. Under the British Constitution, all powers are invested in the king.
Yes.
But by convention, he does not exercise them. The prime minister exercises them on his behalf.
That's it.
To the extent that sometimes he's unhappy about it. Like going to Iraq war.
Yeah.
It was very clear that they said the Queen of England didn't want it. But Tony Blair commanded the soldiers
But you believe
to go
that
to Iraq war.
that position was faulty? It's not true. Because
Which
before
one?
Tony Blair took that decision, they discussed that matter with the Queen.
No, but the Queen, the Queen by convention,
Yes.
he advised and warned.
Yeah.
She advised and warned, but you cannot stop it. It's politically damaging. They say it will bring constitutional crisis.
You know the relationship.
So maybe we are not gentlemen.
You know the relationship between a boss and a PA.
So-
when
so-
a boss
so
is
in
trying to
effect-
PA that don't let the person come in, then you go and put the blame on the PA. That's the Queen and Tony Blair situation.
Solomon, you see,
So,
in effect, to land on this,
we're wrapping up, so we talk about the free
Parliament
primary
has
healthcare
not
briefing.
done us any favor, or they have not done the good people of this country any good.
Yes.
For wasting our resources to propagate this otherwise beautiful law without investing their minds to Article 811 and 1 of the Ghanaian Constitution.
Right. 17 minutes to the top of the hour. I said it from the start that this OSP AG matter was going to dominate the conversation. But let's talk briefly about the launch of the free primary health care, because the president launched it 2 days ago. And already there's debate as to whether or not it is a new policy or it has been dressed in something new.
A rebrand.
You in the NPP believe it's a rebrand.
It's
Why do you think it's a rebrand? Just in 2 minutes.
Are you saying that since Ghana had been independent since 1957, we've always had a primary health care? And remember during Kufuor time, President Kufuor time, it was expanded and even given more resources. We know pregnant women and other people had access to health care without the need to pay for them. So if you are rebranding, make it very clear you are rebranding. And if you really think it's a big push, tell her the resources that you are allocating to them. You don't just say that other area, maybe the truth, when I read the statement, it's like the rural areas and other places, they didn't have access. Tell us exactly how much resources you are putting into this. But just commissioning things with fanfare is usually not enough. I know it's just going to be a 2 weeks, 3 weeks issue, and then they'll move on. And then, so for me, tell her the resources. The emphasis should have been, how much are you putting into this? Then we can compare. Is it really free? Or usually they say Ghana, when they tell you something is free, it's like the F is a small f. Like when we were told that those of us from the north, we had free education. And people were sent away for not paying fee. Then the southern people will say we had free education. Maybe we don't want that kind of F. So if it is big free, tell her the amount of resources that are there, so that citizens are aware. When you go over there and they say this is free, then it should actually be free. So we want to know the amount of resources that is being pushed over there. Well, it's not very clear at all. And I know that you have managed to deceive the World Health Organization chairman, who apparently is congratulating you, and you are using that as a way. No. Those of us in Ghana want to be confident that what you are doing is exceptionally different from what is already there.
So you are saying the Director General of World Health, who is corrupt?
So no, we didn't say that.
No, he's not suggested, but I'll come to you because when he's done, when he's
I
done,
never said that.
right? He's not.
I said you managed to convince him for some reason. No, they have. You see, when they come out with that statement, he congratulated Ghana. And then they pick it up and they are promoting it that even the World Health Organization have accepted what they are doing is really good. And the question would then be, what exactly are you doing?
Right.
Other than what you've just said. It's just like most of our new universities. When they upgraded them to the Polytechnic to university.
Technical university.
When you go over there, the only thing that has been upgraded is the name. There's no resources. Go to Tamale Polytechnic and see. Sorry?
Everything remains the same.
The same.
Right. So Mohammed, a quick response to that and the free primary healthcare.
Mawuena, you see, we deal with data as a government, and as far as this policy is concerned, in as much as it's part of our manifesto, but coming out with the policy document and to now want to execute it. Every step that we took was driven by data. And what is the data we are talking about? You see, we have the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, Goal 3, which is all about health, and the target was 2030. And of course, in our sub-Saharan region, Ghana is somehow leading towards meeting this goal. But we are still lagging behind. The SDG, it's one of the targets regarding child mortality. It's 25 per 1,000 live birth. But currently Ghana is doing 40 deaths per 1,000 live birth, meaning we are still lagging behind, far behind. And of course, maternal mortality. The target is that by 2030, a country should have about 70 deaths per 100, as far as per 100,000, as far as women are concerned. But Ghana, we are still having maternal mortality standing at 109 per 100,000 women. It tells you that we are far behind in meeting it. Now, when you check this mortality, the parameters as far as the conditions or sickness or illness are concerned, is mostly non-communicable diseases. And you know why? People feel that, oh, me, I'm not sick. I'm doing well. I'm not having high temperature. And sometimes these particular chronic diseases or non-communicable diseases, they usually doesn't manifest the way communicable diseases manifest as far as signs and symptoms are concerned.
I hear you on the data, but how different is this from what NHI is already doing?
I'm coming there.
Because, I mean, you are taking part of NHI funding to go and support this.
Not just NHIS, even Senate, as well as government budgetary allocation. So it is from three aspects of, state resources that we are using. Now, it is important that, this is a seismic shift from sick care, like Ghana we are doing. Most of us, like, we will not go to hospital until we are feeling sick. So we are moving away from sick care to healthcare, in a sense that this particular policy is comprehensive, and it stems from health promotion and then preventive care. Don't just, like the cliche says, prevention is better than cure. Don't wait until you get to your condition being worse, that the prognosis is so poor. Then you go and you are spending huge sums of money doing dialysis, huge sums of money going through BP care, huge sums of money now treating a stroke that came as a result of, I'm building the point, that came as a result of high blood pressure. Now, this primary health care, maybe you want me to now differentiate, because that's where they are having issue. The differences, like you asked, between this free primary health care and that of health insurance is that, one,
3FM,
you agree with me that
92.7.
not all Ghanaians are enrolled under the health insurance. We have only 66% of Ghanaians covered by health insurance, or who are enrolled into the scheme.
Why don't you expand the health insurance?
No, it's already expanded. It's about the will for people to go, and about the financial barrier. It's not just that it's open for everyone.
If health insurance is supposed to take care of treating,
allow
persons,
me to present the distinction.
No, because
I'm coming. Yes.
You've gone, because you are explaining the policy.
Yes.
I've afforded you a bit of time so that
so
you
now
do that. But
the distinction.
I want you to
allow me when I follow you understand the differences. You see,
we don't have more.
66% of Ghanaians are covered under health insurance, but this free primary health is supposed to open door for any Ghanaian citizen and legal resident, whether you are insured, regardless of your insurance status. That's the difference. Meaning health coverage would be increased, and the target of Ghana Health Service to meet the Sustainable Development Goal by 80% coverage in 2030.
So what
will be met? So coverage.
There is this.
It's have wider coverage.
Then there's the NHIs.
Yes.
What will it take for persons to go and get health care?
Any Ghanaian identity card. Have any Ghanaian identity card.
The one we introduced.
Not the one you introduce. You never introduce a Ghana card. That one is flawed. Have a Ghana card. Have a
Ghana card are they going to use?
I'm saying a Ghana card, a national health insurance, your birth certificate, any identity card, anything that.
Now you just
please pardon me. Any card or any document that can identify you as a Ghanaian, you are free to go to for any of the services. Now, the second aspect is that free primary health care is also one of the aspect leg is that it's help in expanding our health infrastructure. One,
right.
Health posts is easy.
Because of time. Yes.
You agree with me that it's easy to erect health posts than chips compound.
Now the product is.
Please, when you allow me, it's easy to erect a health post or kiosk than a chips compound. Now
so
there are
you are going to erect
it's part of it. Yes,
in different places.
For instance, Dr. Mawuena Makola or Mana Ata Market. It's a crowded place. A health post will be erected there, and staff will be placed there to make it easier for you when you walk in there, or you are a worker there, or you sell at the
to
go and check your BP or check other parameters of.
Just briefly in 2 minutes, and then I'll come to.
I wish there would have been time to handle this aspect.
In fact, I think if you look at Ghana's healthcare universal coverage index, we stand at 56%.
Thank you.
As against
80%.
Okay, proceed.
As against
so just
projected 80%, which is a target we're looking at 2030.
Sure.
If you look at our current rates, I don't think we can achieve that. The policy is a very solid policy, no doubt about that. But you see, our health care system have a challenge of underfunding and then understaffing. Now, the health minister says you need $1.2 billion.
No, Ghana cedis.
It's dollars.
Annually, no, Ghana cedis.
Well, annually.
Yes.
To roll out this program. I have a challenge with sustainability. Look at the healthcare initiatives we have rolled out in this country. Look at the NHIS. You even mentioned here about the challenges of underfunding. Is that not it? Why don't we get our policies
3FM
right, synergize them, and let them flow in a chronological manner? We need infrastructure before programs. As it stands now, the last government started the Agenda 111, very fantastic program or project. But typical of we Africans, there were some infractions and financial malfeasance somewhere after audit. I think that the NDC government should prioritize the Agenda 111 and finish some of the hospitals.
Right.
Then they can roll out these
Some
programs.
of these.
That is when Ghanaians will benefit from the program. What I see is that you want to implement your manifesto promises.
If it doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't make sense at the instance circumstances we find ourselves.
Right.
And the final thing is that, you see, we must be guided. I think we are deceiving our people. When we come to power, we are looking at winning the next election
masters of deception.
and not putting strategies in place that will sustain our institutions.
Right. So
Two
look,
quick
final.
issues. First of
Yeah,
all,
masters of deception.
my brother
Chaos.
Ima says, I don't get him. He says that it's a very beautiful program or policy. So if it's a beautiful policy, well, from these lamentations.
Okay.
If it is not
He's
beautiful-
talking
No.
about infrastructure.
I'm
Infrastructure-
talking about sustainability.
sustainability and
So what
And I'm
infrastructure.
talking
Policy
about
that
the
says it's a good
implementation gaps. I'm talking
You
about
have
the
already said
implementation
that it's
gaps.
a good policy. Once it's a good policy, then there must not be any but.
But implementation
there has
is a
to be-
problem.
I mean,
so
if
if you have a good policy,
two
and
truths,
you have
two truths can
bad
exist. Something can be good,
implementation
and it will still require
Exactly.
additional inputs to make it
The
better.
point is that if it, yes. So,
So
what
that
I-
is what I'm saying.
No, but when,
We should look
when I
at
heard him and how he ended, he was more negative than the good that he talked about. Secondly, Ishak, he says is a rebranding. Yes, there is nothing new under the sun. That is why some of us have been telling them that this attempt to allocate this gold for oil and the gold for reserve never was an idea of Dr. Mahmoud Mohamed. You see now today you are telling us there is never deal. In any case,
Hey,
this whole
this is your punchline with Baumia. What's the
primary
problem?
healthcare is captured in our
He
GTP.
cannot finish without firing about
Page 63. It's good. It's an entry point into the health sector. And here, when policies are rolled out, I only wait for implementation. This country, you go
Exactly.
into our various ministries, there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful write-ups. Implement it. Once they implement it well, we will come back and discuss it. For now,
And even the resources.
Absolutely.
as for the resources there, we use $97 million to go and dig a hole. It's a almost $1 billion. We have a lot of money in this country.
We are power healthcare.
Gentlemen, thank you.
They still have money.
Mawuena, the
Thank you.
sustainability he was talking
Thank
about,
you.
is this financial sustainability or what?
Financial is fast and infrastructure.
When will we stop SNIT? When will we stop NHS living?
Well,
It continues.
we'll have
Government budgetary allocations continue. So the financial sustainability is not anything to talk about.
Come and do blood pressure. Why don't you supply them with blood pressure machines?
But if they supply them,
That's why we are supplying them through this.
Where do you get this concept from? Where in the world do they
The
have?
big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
A big thank you to Mohammed Al Hassan Abdul Ghaffar, who is a member of the NDC communications team, who was in studio with us. Ishaq Ibrahim Esquire, NPP communications team member, also Electra as well. Emmanuel Kuting is executive director of the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism, and Solomon Owusu as well, who is the director of communications at the United Party, all joining us in studio this morning. Quick birthdays before we run out of the studio this morning. So, quick birthdays just before we run out of the studio. A happy birthday, my amazing warrior. You face the world with courage, strength, and I admire how you embrace life in your own unique rhythm. Every day, you teach me patience, kindness, and the beauty of seeing the world in your own special way. You inspire me every single day, and I want you to know that I will always be your biggest mentor, and I am so grateful to be your mom. Happy birthday, Renee Nanaya Ohinewa Kufuor, from your mom, Mary Kufuor. This one is, please send a special birthday to my mom from Professor Robert Ebo Henson, Madam Frederica Evelyn Henson. Happy birthday to you, mommy. We wish you God's exceeding grace in good health as well. Happy birthday. We're thankful to God for adding another year to your life, and we wish you good health and long life from your son, Professor Robert Ebo Hinton. Last one to Reverend Father Francis Destiny Amenuvo, a parish priest at St. Theresa Mini Basilica at Kanishi. A glorious birthday to you as well. Enjoy the day. That's it from us for this week. We're back, God willing, Monday. Big thank you to everyone in production. I'll leave you in the able hands of DJ Phil right now as we get news updates and some other matters for you. The 3 Lounge as well is next on your radio.